panellists. Before I do, I just want to say thank you for Jill for having my back, because at 2 o'clock this morning I came back from Holland, so Jill was ready to step in and do some work for us today. She was going to do this, but I didn't want to miss it for the world, so if I'm a bit tired or look tired, that's because I've done a lot of travelling recently. What Jill's going to be doing is videoing, and you're welcome to take photographs. Is everybody okay with photographs? Yeah, cool. And if have we got a hashtag for today, Aneesa?
Hashtag PBW25.
PBW25 is a very catchy hashtag.
So catchy.
Oh, I like it. Brilliant. Let's over to Aneesa. Aneesa, thank you very much for getting involved so much and bringing Pendle Business Week to this region. Tell us just a little bit more about it before we start.
Yes, so welcome everybody to day 2. So Pendle Business Week, I've explained to a couple of people around the room already. I had a bit of a hiatus in 2019 because that COVID thing came along and crashed everything out of the water. We had a bit of a spotlight in 2023 where Pendle Business Week came back for 1 year, and we had a year off last year, and then I joined Pendle Council in February and thought, well, we need to bring Business Week back. It's very much part of a coordinated strategy for Pendle Borough Council in terms of business engagement and really understanding what you all need to help us shape the economy and push the economy forward for Pendle Borough. So I wanted to put something quite simple together this year, something not too session heavy, just to get feedback from everybody to look at what we deliver for 2026. So you'll be very much shaping the next Pendle Business Week for us by being part of it this year. So yeah, just thank you so much for your support, and I'm really scared/excited about being on the panel today. So thanks, Andy, for strong arming me into doing it.
Railroaded, persuaded.
Yeah.
I thought you volunteered.
Yeah, that's what he tells everyone.
Thanks, Aneesa. So we've got about 45 minutes of an open discussion now. So it's not too prepared. This is just a genuine discussion about AI. So there's no narrative and there's no kind of agenda that we've got. We just want to kind of serve you guys and talk about what we think is coming. So moving across from our panel from right to left, Aneesa's clearly an AI expert. That's why she wanted to stuck around with me and said, I want to be on the panel, please. Let's go to your right. Name, company, and your interest in AI.
Yes, my name's Darren Baldwin. I'm Tech Director at D&M Creative. We're based there, just in the next business park. We've been a creative design and marketing agency established for 20 years. I've been with the company for 10 years, and we use AI day to day in programming, in analysis, in vibe coding. So something that you might be familiar with or not. And yeah, that's never done anything like this before, so I'm probably more nervous than you. Be gentle.
Be gentle, but get those really difficult questions ready for later.
Don't do that.
True story. Gary sent an email yesterday asking for directions.
That's right. We're there, literally.
Literally there. On a very similar story, I got rerouted by Google Navigate today, and AI actually helped me get here today. So that's a should you just use Google Maps?
I just got yours off.
Fine. Brilliant. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Reid, founder and CEO of Connect Childcare. We develop nursery management software for nurseries, so small nurseries, some in the village here, but some of the largest nursery groups in the UK. Primarily, we provide management systems, but then also observational systems and apps for parents. My interest, we're based in Northlight now, we were based in Longshade until just after COVID. I suppose my interest, I'm no expert, it's fair to say, but my interest in AI is probably twofold. One is how we can utilise it internally to improve efficiencies, do things quicker, and to sometimes a better standard, but also how we can start to develop tools for our customers. We own all the rights to the anonymised and aggregated data that we hold, and we're very grateful to have been supported by Pendle Council with an innovation grant to work with the University of Manchester on that data project. So, two angles really from my perspective.
Because I asked you to be on.
And you asked me to be on.
The grant application we saw, you're welcome to talk about grants later. The grant application we saw piqued my interest because there was a large language model,
Yeah.
and within that's we'll come back to that later if that's alright, Chris, just to explain a little bit more what that is and
I'll
the
do my
impact
best.
of that. And finally, last but not least,
Morning everyone, my name's Darren Bentham from a company called the AI Works, which I run with my colleague Carl over here. My journey in AI started back in 1992, and then I went on to get a degree in AI in the 90s, and then a postgrad in the year 2000s. The interest started, ironically, with a conversation about Alice in Wonderland. So if you ever read up on Lewis Carroll, he wrote more books on mathematics and logic than he did on Alice. Yeah, we had a few conversations with a lecturer at the time, and then I went on to work with a language called Pro on Logic, which is was one of the early AI languages. So what we're doing these days, we're running a consultancy, so working with businesses who want to learn and understand what it is. So we offer training, we do consultancy, and then primarily focused on software development. So we're all using ChatGPT, but if you want your own ChatGPT, if you want to introduce vision systems into your workflow, language systems, then we can add these software development for that.
thank you. 1992.
That's how old I
I
am. And a bit.
I mean, who knew that AI has been around since probably prior to 1992?
It's, I think, the late 70s. I think.
Stop it.
So it's been,
I thought it'd been around for about 2 years.
Alan Turing was one of the biggest.
Really?
To be with Alan Turing on the Turing machine.
So how would you describe what AI actually is in layman's terms?
It's trying to replicate what a human does.
Okay.
And I think replication is the key word here. It doesn't do it in the same way we do it. But it can seem to replicate it. It seems very fanciful and very clever. But the underlying concepts are just pure mathematics.
And that's it. Just mathematics.
Yeah, pure mathematics. So reasoning and explainability is one of its weak points. And humans are a lot more varied than the machine is.
Okay. So we do the reasoning, it does the calculator.
Pretty much, yeah. It's based on stats.
Okay.
So you ask it a question, the probability of being what you want is this. It's seeing it before in a certain area. It works out the averages. Yeah, that's what I think you want, and it shows it to you.
Okay.
Which is great, but what it can't do then is explain it's particularly bad at explaining its reasoning, how it got there.
Okay. And so what is an LLM? Chris, show you LLM.
Well, it stands for Large Language Model. I'm by no means an expert, certainly not at the same kind of calibre as you have. But essentially, what we're trying to do at Connect, we've got millions and millions of data points around all different sort of facets of child development, about things that are happening. Once we've got that into some sort of sense, so we can start to type various types of data, essentially then what we're trying to do is put that into what's called a large language model that allows the AI to be able to train itself on that model. So rather than being more of a generic LLM, we would consider ourselves to be what's called a private LLM, which is a very specific, rather than being sort of generalist, it's very specific on the use case that we have.
Okay. So how will you be using it in your organisation, just so businesses can understand?
From an efficiency perspective?
Yeah.
So we use it across a number of different areas. We're a software development company, so similar to the point that Gary made earlier, we're starting now to look at how we can utilise it to help with our coding, what we would call scaffolding of the software in the first place, and to some extent, it's a pretty poor way of describing it, but the grunt work, so the things that take time that isn't necessarily hugely productive for the engineers. So I was at a leadership meeting yesterday, and we were running through a piece of work that we were doing, and there was a demonstration that we were given by our CTO, and it was literally a two minute presentation of sort of an evolution of our own software, and he just said, look, how long would you think that would take to develop? And we would normally split our development process up into what's called sprints, so they're usually blocks of 2 weeks work, so estimates were it'll be 2 sprints, it'll be 3 sprints, and it was 5 hours. So that's not to say that we're being reckless and just saying, right, well, let's compile the code and ship it. But what that's done is it's saved a huge amount of engineering time, and then we can focus on making sure that the controls are there, and but it speeds the process up significantly. We're looking at other areas, so we have a help desk for the support team, so that when our customers are trying to get assistance, they'll go to the help desk, but typically they won't read the help desk, they'll then still read the support line. So we're starting to integrate chatbots into the help desk, because it's going to, assuming the content of the help desk is crafted in an articulate way and it's accurate, then the chatbot's going to be able to find the answer and point the user to the answer quicker than they'll probably be able to get through to the support line. So there's a number of different areas. I use it myself, obviously, like everybody else, with ChatGPT. I think I've gone through that journey of feeling like I'm cheating by using it. But at the end of the day, I think it can the content, I see it as it's a bit like an assistant. I put the content in there, it might structure it in a slightly different way. But then I have to create a lot of presentations as part of my role. So within ChatGPT, we can say, look, create this as a PowerPoint presentation. That then I need then use another app called Gamma, which I can load it into Gamma, and within 20 seconds there's a formatted presentation. So as a CEO, I'm not paid to make a PowerPoint look pretty. I'm paid to be able to deliver the PowerPoint or craft the content that goes into it. So that, what could take me weeks to create, is done in 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
It's unbelievable. So, I mean, the most obvious thing is the time saving, isn't it? Huge from an organisational perspective. But that's the way I see this, is that essentially is like, if that's going to save you time, that's going to save money, that's going to be passed on to the end users, the customer. So does it actually lower the costs of your services for the customer by needing to?
We're in a very price sensitive market anyway, so the kind of solutions that we supply, arguably in different industries, we deal with nurseries, in different industries I could probably charge 3 or 4 times the value. So I think what our customers are getting is price increases as a result of those increased efficiencies. We don't, software development's expensive. Anybody that's involved in software development will testify to that. But if I can create a service for our customers with 10 developers instead of 20 developers, then that saving is indirect, but it just means I'm not having to put the prices up, essentially.
That's useful to know.
I think it's a headspace thing as well, isn't it? If you, so we've got a team of 4 developers, 2 relatively junior ones, 27-year-olds, and 2 more senior ones. And funnily enough, it's our senior devs that tend to use it more than the junior devs.
Oh, really?
Which is, I haven't gone into why that is, but it just seems to be that the seniors it's trusted. And they tend to use it more for, it does all the boilerplate stuff, it does all the bits and pieces that you would usually take the time, and allows us to have more time to work on other things. Things that would take, a plugin that would take a week to program, now takes a couple of days. Something that would take a couple of days now takes a few minutes. So not everything, and there's got to be oversight. You've got to you've got to look at the stuff that is created. Especially we've been playing just recently with some agentic systems. So where basically you just point the AI at something and you give it access and you say, right, off you go, plan, do it, and then come back with something. And sometimes it's great and it'll one-shot something, it'll do what it's told, and sometimes it can be absolutely disastrous. So things are obviously progressive. I think we're right at the beginning now, we're at the sort of the call phase of it, and things have got to work. How it all works.
It's really interesting that you're explaining that the older developers or more mature developers are the ones that are embracing it. My understanding will be that students, young adults are the ones who will be utilising it more than anyone. Are you saying something different?
It may just be an outcome.
Yeah.
It may just be the personalities that are there, but
Yeah.
for us it's the senior devs.
I think that one, Gary, just follow up on that one. There is a strong reason for it. And the reason is to be a senior developer knows what he wants.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the time to do it,
Yeah.
but he's got the experience.
Yeah. That's a
The
good
junior
point.
developer doesn't know what he wants yet.
Yeah.
He'll just try and spit fanciful.
Got it. Okay. So he's almost like a consultant, and your older developers have got experience. They probably would know the outcome, I guess.
Yes.
Whereas they can use, as you said, like the grunt work, you can use AI for their
Productivity is what it gives you.
Yeah.
It's not about anything new, new ideas.
Yeah, got that. That's good. So what other ways are you using it for your customers in terms of, what are the benefits to your customers?
So for us, one of the huge things, so one of our directors is a chartered marketer, and so we collect massive amounts of data with good quality as well. So things like analytics data, AdWords, all that sort of stuff. And it's just a huge amount of data. Things like that used to take a long time. So whenever we launch a site, we run some screen recording software on the site just to make sure that people are interacting with the site the way that you think that they're going to do, because people may click on things that they don't realise should be clicked on, or vice versa. And it used to be quite a manual system to read, to watch all the screen recording, see how people were interacting with that and interacting with the software. But now we can kind of put all that data into a system, and it'll collate that information and sort of point us in the right directions of where we need to look. We did a piece with Winter Gardens. The site gets millions of views every month. There's a lot of users that use the Winter Gardens. So it's great in one respect because you can get data really quickly. But just some simple things like some people clicking on prices. We're trying to get somewhere we didn't know where we were trying to get. The AI highlighted that was an issue, and we did some A/B testing and then rolled out a new system.
Making notes, because there's a few things I want to circle back to, because I think I know a little bit about AI and tech, but not to the level you guys have. So I want to ask a few questions about that later. Aneesa, we were speaking recently about how you use AI from a personal perspective, but also your thoughts on it.
Absolutely, yeah. I was going to say my usage is not as sophisticated as the three gentlemen here, but coming to the council where resources are really quite low actually, and being at the beginning of AI journey within the council has been really, really insightful and really useful, because the amount of time it has saved me is absolutely insane, from coordinating Teams meetings, transcribing it, or inviting a Fireflies or whatever that looks like, and then chucking it into Copilot, summarising your meetings, creating action lists, which then feeds into your other systems. It's honestly been a massive game changer for me. It is something I use daily. The other thing it does is it's picked up how I'm using it as well, which is even better, because it's now producing stuff that I actually want, because it's now got this history of stuff that I've been looking for and things that I've been summarising. So there's a meeting that I hold once every other month, and if I go back to that same chat, stick the transcription in, it updates my last meetings, picks out the actions that have been actioned, creates a new action. Honestly, for me, it's been absolutely incredible, because that, for example, I've got one lady in the office who has been working for the council nearly 20 years, and she does everything on pen and paper, and I'm just like, you just need to get off pen and paper, you need to be...
Yeah, who would use that?
I know.
Ridiculous bonds,
But for big meetings, because she does a lot of transcriptions, a lot of meeting minutes, and actually it's taking her, because she works part-time as well, so from a productivity point of view, she finishes work on a Thursday, she doesn't come back till the Tuesday, so there's a good 4-day gap between that, and let's have it right, we all are very, very busy people. What are you actually going to recall from that meeting, from your notes, really? Let's be realistic about it. You're not going to recall everything. And whilst transcribing on pen and paper is great, but in a big board meeting where we actually really need those nuggets of information, it's really quite important. So I think from the council's perspective as well, we're very much, I think we're quite late to the party from a digital point of view, from an AI point of view. I feel that, I don't think there's resistance, I just think everyone's a bit blasé about it. I don't think they realise that the AI train is here, it's left the station and we're still on the platform. So I feel like we've got stuff to do internally to get people digitally smart, because we are a small council, and we also need to make sure we're using it properly, because you put rubbish in, you're going to get rubbish out, right? And I also think we've got to be quite mindful that we've got sensitive documents as well, that, you know, at the minute we don't know where that's going. So we need to make sure we're using AI safely as well, for us particularly. Like, there's certain stats and things that we don't want going out into the ether. So I think something's coming. I've seen a few sort of workshops around like local government AI. So stuff is coming, but I think we've been quite late to the party as local authority.
I mean, the fact that you're embracing it and you're seeing it as a game changer is definitely a progressive way of looking at it.
100%, yeah. I mean, I've put myself down as digital champion for our department. Yeah. I am dragging everybody. I'm like, no, we've got to do this. We have got to get on, you know, even getting on SharePoint. We're not on SharePoint.
Really?
Really.
Come on.
Honestly. I mean...
Have you got Channel 4 yet?
I don't even think we've got Channel 3. Honestly, it's bonkers. So, for me, I've got a massive cultural change. There's a massive cultural shift within my organisation, so that might be a barrier for some businesses as well, like getting people onto what we actually need to do to make to be more efficient within our businesses.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a manager that doesn't really just do email, really. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't do email? I have to go in and like, can you please check that, and why are you not coming to this meeting? Everything's in your inbox. So there's more AI I want to explore as well.
Yeah.
So there's something, I've seen I want to do some sort of recording of because I was speaking to Jill about it the other day actually, because I do a lot of in-person meetings. So I want to find a decent app that can pick up, there you go, that can pick up everybody's voices. If there's a good 20 voices in the room, like, what's a good app for that? And like, can we utilise that? And how much time is that going to save me? Like, honestly, I still feel like I'm in the guilty phase a bit. I still feel like I'm cheating a little bit, but I think, do you know what? I'm at the point, the cusp of not caring, because my productivity is so high. And when people go, Aneesa, I don't know how you do it, I'm like, I'm just us, and that's fine. It's not AI at all. So yeah, it's a challenge for me to get everybody on the same page, for sure.
Yeah. Especially when you feel guilty.
Yeah.
Are we asking the right questions though? So I don't know if you guys agree. We have customers that have come to us to say, what should I be using AI for? And in my opinion, I don't think that's really the right thing. Really, we should be saying, what's the problem that you've got, and then can AI be a solution for it? Because there's a lot of hype about AI, and a lot of it's generated by the AI companies because they want to get money. And there's costs involved in that. I'm sure we'll come to that later. But we tend to look at it from a top-down approach. So we're trying to automate and use AI in the most complex things. When really we should be using it from the bottom up. We should be using it as to automate the simple things and the boring things and the things that are hard. That's the thing that really we should be trying to use it. And if you were not using it for meetings, then absolutely, if you have in-person meetings or if you have Zoom meetings, Teams meetings, just try the transcription things that Zoom and Teams have. They're great. And if you are doing in-person meetings, there are Otter is one. We're using Jenny at the minute. They're not horrendously expensive, so even at the top level, it's about £50 a month, but they have got 3 tiers, and they work quite well, So it depends on if you've got this many people in the ring, it may struggle. But for 5 or 6 people, you can usually pick out who's talking and transcript your meeting.
So to pick up on that point then, starting with simple tasks. there's some things that AI's good at.
Yeah.
If I send him, you say, Gary, can you move that chair from there to there? Easy job. Any child can do it. AI will struggle massively with that. If I give you 10,000 breast scans, so which ones are cancerous, you will struggle. The AI will go through that very easily.
Yeah.
So it's certain jobs it's good at, and it's so the first challenge is to open people's eyes about what it can do, give them a taste, and let them play around with it, give them a sandbox, and have a go with it. It's not a catch-all solution, and we exactly the same scenario that you mentioned then. They think it's a magic bullet. They come to us and say, well, I wanted to make my business better. Well, what's your problems? Well, I haven't really got any. Okay, well, what can it do for you? You tell me that it's taking you so long doing this, or we have a certain failure rate in the manufacturing process. We can look at that. We can look at AI. If AI can fix it, it's not always the magic bullets, but ultimately, it's just a solution among many software products.
Definitely. I mean, I've done loads of trial and error. Like, there's been some things where it has been so like not what I was looking for at all. I thought, oh God, I'm gonna have to actually do this myself now, which has been a bit of a pain. But it also, in that sense, because I've learned how to use it. It is making me more efficient, and like I say, productivity is up. So absolutely, yeah. It's learning what. It is trial and error, definitely. Like working, sort of messing around with it, understanding what you can and can't do on it. It's definitely been the way I've been sort of using it. I would like to do some more training on it, I think, for sure.
Well, you can deliver the training, you're an expert.
Eventually, yeah. Who knows? Especially because I'm going to be the digital champion in Pendle Council, so yeah.
So we've heard quite a lot of jargon so far. Quick quiz then. So, who's going to tell me the name of some of the AI programs that you've heard so far? Yes. Gamma. Who was that? Copilot, yeah. Well, ChatGPT. It's Family Fortunes, it's a top answer. Sorry. What else have we got? Gemini, yeah, you've been listening, taking notes. Or is your AI assistant doing it for you? What else? Otter, yeah. Is that transcription, is it?
Yeah, I use that. It's really
Yeah,
good.
good one, yeah. What else have we got? Oh, slow down pretty quick, isn't it? I use Fireflies, it's brilliant. And the app, Fireflies as an app, in this environment, will record everything so well, and you can pick up on accents as well. And it learns if I say, oh, Aneesa, it would know the next person speaking is Aneesa. And you go, oh, Chris, what about? So it does actually learn, so the more you use it, the better it becomes. What else have we used so far? So I've heard Gamma, Otter, Copilot. Somebody said Copilot. Is anybody using Copilot for emails? What is it?
Well, you can't really avoid it. If you're using Microsoft and Word and things like that, it's there straight away. You type a sentence, there's a little button there at the corner, you can make it sound better, especially if it's there.
Yeah.
It's unavoidable.
For sure, yeah. And even, those people who go on LinkedIn, I'm never on LinkedIn, except like 3 or 4 times a day. Aneesa, like, she lives on LinkedIn. I didn't realise she was real. A LinkedIn person. Or even going on LinkedIn to, do you want to use AI to do this? Go to a search engine, you want to use AI to do this. We were speaking about, what do I do with it now I've got this, I remember I bought my dad a laptop like 15 years ago, and there you go, internet access. What do I ask it? Whatever you want to ask it. I don't want to ask it anything. Spend hundreds of pounds on a laptop, you're not going to use it. That's amazing. But I think it's a similar kind of thing. I think Gary made a really good point where it's like, fix my business. What do you want me to do? No idea. Just he's using that. So I think it's really important to understand the implications of it. And I guess that we're still learning the implications or the uses of AI. Darren, what do you think is coming around the corner?
There's a few things. I think Gary mentioned the small language models. Small language models. Well, a large language model, it knows everything about everything. It's the AI from the movies. A small language model, it talks about one particular job. So it could be legal, it could be cancer, whatever it is. You train it on your data. And ultimately, if you ask it a question it doesn't know the answer to, it will say, I don't know the answer. With a large language model, it will try and guess, which is where you get a lot of mistakes and all the weird stuff creeping in. So we'll see a lot more small language models. The next big thing is agents. They're creeping in, I've mentioned a few times, which is autonomous software running in the background and doing a certain job for you, as you would be an employee. One of the benefits of a small language model is that they're smaller and faster, and by smaller and faster, you can then start embedding these into your phones, into cameras and screens. We can put them on the edge of the technology. So rather than having a very large data centre, they run on small power usage.
So they're more specific to a particular task?
Yes, yeah, and that's all they can do.
Yeah.
They're training up for a particular task, and they can do that and nothing else. But it means they're a lot more energy efficient.
Right.
Because one of the kickbacks that we'll talk about in a bit is the green side of AI is a complete monster.
Yeah, so we'll look at the dark side of AI. Terminated language now. T2000's that in, isn't it? Should we all be scared for our lives? Who's afraid of AI?
In between.
Everybody's
going to be out of a job, well, not everybody, but a lot of people, because it is just going to take over.
These are the real questions that people are actually asking, aren't they? Will people be out of jobs? This is Pendle Business Week event. Does that mean we're going to lose jobs?
Well, our friend here has already, sorry, I can't remember your name, already mentioned something about what would have needed 20 consultants. You can now do it with 10. So immediately you've lost 10 staff. All gone. So that is scary.
Or not recruited 10 staff. Yeah. And there was an interesting documentary on Channel 4 yesterday. It was Dispatches. Very timely. And it was titled "Is AI going to take our jobs?" And it had four different professionals: a doctor, a solicitor, fashion photographer, and composer, and he pitted them against the AI. And throughout it was it surveyed 1,000 business executives around how it was going to affect them, and pretty much the overwhelming consensus was we're not going to recruit, or we are going to let staff go, or we're investing 65% of our resources into AI over the coming. So I think it is hard to predict where it's going to end up. I think you're thinking about some of the lower level white collar jobs is probably where it's going to impact first, like legal clerks. And one of the examples yesterday was I've had a similar sort of experience where there was a plumber that hadn't got paid for a job, and he went to a solicitor, and she went through it and said, right, it's going to cost 1,200 quid. It's going to take me 4 hours to create a claim you can put a small business claims court. And he went to an AI. I think it's the first legally approved legal AI. It's called Garfield AI, something like that. And it was 100 quid, and he'd done it in 25 minutes. So given the answer was the same, the way it was presented was slightly different. But overwhelmingly, somebody's going to choose the £100 option, not the 4 hour. So it was a bit of a ramble then, but it was it's that tier, I think, what you've got to be worried about. There was a fashion photographer, and AI run that particular factory, like Jewel. So what's going to happen to fashion photographers? Why we were talking about earlier, why would you have a fashion shoot where you've got to go to Greece to take a fashion shoot when you can do it in 25 minutes in your bedroom?
And like we said, it's not just the photographer, it's the hairstylist, it's the stylist, it's the models, it's everybody that would have been involved in that shoot and now basically redundant, because why would you fly to Egypt to do a fashion shoot when you can just do it all on AI? So it scares me in that way.
Somebody else feel a bit concerned about lack of...
I actually work for an engineering company in Nelson called Graham Engineering. We've got 24 apprentices, and all them apprentices have been told not to use AI for any of the coursework or homework or whatever. But the difficulty is, some student who's to do a 2,000 word thesis on something is going to use it. If everybody's using it, somebody's going to use it, and Birmingham College will contact me and say 25% of that thesis has been done on AI. They've got it from here or wherever. But Birmingham College, who all my students are with, are promoting AI courses and everything on the planet, but they're telling the students, no way, you'll be thrown off the course if you use AI. So, from my perspective, you can tell them and advise them and tell them not to get caught out. but it's whether that lazy 18-year-old wants to go and use it and see if he can get away with it. But I can't check what he puts through to Burnley College, because that's what he does. So I don't know enough about it, but that's the difficulty I have a bit of some young person being told not to use it, and being told they may be thrown off the course if they do.
In education,
Yeah.
maybe it may, again, I'm not an expert, feel it, it may be that students aren't asked to write essays. The knowledge is tested a different way. One of the things that we've kind of thought about really carefully for the past sort of 3 or 4 years now is there's a lot of content being generated by generative AI, and we're very careful about advising our clients about what they use, because you could create your website content very, very easily through Gen AI. You could have 10 websites where before you might only have one. But ultimately, if AI and Google first, but then by extension AI engines, because they are going to become the next Google, if Google can't tell the difference between what's real and what's generated, then you're not going to go to use Google to actually find out what you need. So that's against its business principles. If there's, I don't know what the percentage of generated content is in the last 4 years. It must be in the thousands of percent. AI is feeding on, it's cannibalising itself, so it's training itself on AI content. There's got to be there's got to be some way of finding out what's real and what isn't. So when our clients ask us, should we be creating 100 blogs, 1,000 blogs? What's the point? If everything on LinkedIn is generated by AI, and I don't know what percentage it is, but it probably is quite a lot within it. What's the point of going on LinkedIn when it's because what AI does is it generalises everything. It makes everything average.
Really good point, because stuff you say on LinkedIn is often, you can read now, that's not your voice. There's no way you'd use that language, and you can see it's structured in a particular way. You've got exactly. And you've got like emojis.
Actually, everybody thinks I'm AI when I'm not.
You make a really good point, because this fact-checking thing really concerns me, because where's that information come from in the first place? Has it been a large language model making an assumption, now it's become a fact? So that's what worries me a little bit.
So that's one of the 2 areas. There's bias in data and hallucinations. So hallucinations, you tell it enough lies and misinformation enough times, it believes it's true. Because statistically speaking, it's seen it loads and loads of times, therefore it must be true. There's association there with Donald Trump and racism. It's seen the words side by side that many times, it does believe in most cases Donald Trump's a racist. Likewise, if I go to Liverpool and do a survey of one part of Liverpool and say what's the best football team, I'm marking that reality. Because my data sample is restricted to the full set. So if AI is obviously actually data set, then the answer is going to be wrong.
And this is the risk we've touched on before. This is a risk of just assuming that an AI tool is going to get it right. So can you just work this out for me? Can you do this? Can you do that? If we're not checking at the end, doing the polishing at the end, and actually, show me the sources, show me citations, actually having a human being going, that's not what I asked for. A simple example from me is like, I will use ChatGPT often, and I'll ask it to put a schedule together, and I'll check it, the dates and time zone sometimes, because it's used an internal battery which is slightly misaligned, and everything's kicked out. So making assumptions like that can just be really embarrassing. How does that happen? Does anybody know about that? Not just ChatGPT, but how can AI make mistakes when it's based on what we fed it?
Data. It's data.
It's generally the large language model. It's not just training using your data, it's using that relevant data. If that was what Chris mentioned, a small language model, you wouldn't have the same problem.
And what other worries have we got? Sorry, Andrew,
Just a couple of comments really. I suppose the first one, I've been around a few years now. I've seen a few eras of IT and computing, and I saw the first BBC computer go into my school back in 1983. There was one, by the way, for the whole school. And I saw the first PCs be introduced at university in 1980.